Am I the asshole for allowing a kid to sit in my car? I, 36 female, usually have time to drive my daughter to the bus stop every morning before work. Last week, where we were, it was -11 wind chill. There is a kid, 12 to 14 meters, middle school aged, that comes down to the bus stop as well. I do not know him, nor his parents. This is relevant to the story. On Friday, when it was 9:11, he came out in nothing but a thin pullover. I felt like I couldn't ethically allow a kid to stand out in such cold weather when I had a warm car he could sit in. He took my offer and sat in my back seat while me and my daughter spoke. He kept his AirPods in and didn't say much other than saying thank you. Buses were running 15 minutes late as well, so nobody really should have been out in that. However, yesterday, while I was walking my dog, a woman came up to me. She asked me why I took her son into my car. I explained that the weather was well into the negatives and he was not wearing a coat and the bus was quite late. She told me to never do that again and that what I did was incredibly creepy and to leave her son alone. I was taken aback. I just offered the kid a warm place to sit and didn't even speak to him. I feel bad because of course I never want to come across as creepy or overstepping boundaries, but I also feel like if the roles were reversed and I was unable to take my daughter to the bus stop and this mom offered her a place to sit, I would be thankful. I feel bad for doing something I thought was nice. Is this weird? Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Let's weigh the options. 1. Not be creepy, but let a child freeze in extremely cold weather. 2. Come across as creepy, but provide a safe and warm shelter to a child. Given the circumstances, it's better you chose option 2. Maybe you could have proactively reached out to that kid's parents and told them about the incident as an assurance. But even though you didn't, it doesn't make you wrong. I do get where the other mom was coming from, but at least the child in question didn't freeze in such bad weather. I mean, if the boy and his daughter get on the same bus every day, odds are that the boy knew the mom and daughter by sight and recognized that they were not a danger. I said, good day. Speaking as a former child who got frostbite in both hands at the age of 10, thank you for caring about someone else's child. You are not the asshole. The mother's concern is valid, but she also was the parent who sent or allowed her child to go to a bus stop in weather that could have seriously harmed him. Instead of thanking you for protecting her child from harm, or even asking why you had her child in your car, she's attacking you. To me, it appears she is deflecting blame and trying to make you out to be the villain, so the conversation is diverted from why she allowed her child to be at risk. You did the right thing, but if it happens again, call the school to report the child neglect, and then the cops to come pick up the kid. This is the correct answer. If he had gone to school with hypothermia or frostbite, she would absolutely have had to deal with CPS. What was she thinking letting a child go out without a coat, is my question. I know kids will be kids and complain, but in negative temps, it's absolutely imperative that they are dressed appropriately. And the buses running that late might still have not prevented this kid from getting either thing. Not the asshole. You made a kind offer and her son accepted it. If she doesn't trust her son's judgment, then maybe she shouldn't leave him alone in -11-degree weather. You might say, your choice. Would you rather I let your son sit in my car, or would you rather I call Child Protective Services? Not the asshole. I get why the mother would be uncomfortable with her son getting into a stranger's car, but I think her reaction was really over the top. You just let him sit in the back seat while your own child was in the car in order to keep warm when apparently his own parents don't ensure that he's properly dressed for the weather. Like I said, I can understand why she was uncomfortable, and I think she definitely could have had a talk with her son about getting in cars with strangers. But I don't think you did anything wrong, and it certainly wasn't creepy. Not the asshole. Sure thing, lady. Next time, I'll just call CPS when you send your kid out without a jacket in below freezing temperatures. This is an incredibly interesting and thought-provoking situation. The woman was just trying to help a child in need by letting him sit in her warm car during extremely cold weather while waiting for the bus. However, the reaction of the boy's mother was unexpected and accusatory, accusing the woman of being creepy and telling her to never do it again. It's a complicated scenario because the woman was trying to do a good deed, but the mother's reaction made her question if she overstepped her bounds. It's definitely a tricky situation with many perspectives to consider. What do you think about the woman's actions? Do you agree with the mother's reaction, or do you think the woman was in the right for offering a warm place for the child to sit? Let me know in the comments down below, and let's move right into our next Reddit post. Am I the asshole for expecting my brother to pay for a new phone after I damaged mine saving his son? My brother, 24 male, was watching his son, 3 male, when they were over at our parents' place this weekend, but he got distracted for a minute, and my nephew fell into the backyard swimming pool. Thank God I heard it in time and jumped into the pool and saved him. We are all aware a tragedy could have happened. Everyone is still in shock, and my father already started working on gating the pool. I did have another kind of financial loss, though, because I had my cell phone in my pocket when I jumped in the pool, and it's dead now. I told my brother I will look to buy a new one and send him the bill. He thinks he is not responsible for paying and says he cannot believe that's what I'm thinking about after his son almost died. So I said it was his fault that his son almost died. He should be down on his knees thanking God and kissing my feet for saving his son's life, and the least he can do is pay for a phone of my choice. My mother says to give him time. Am I the asshole for insisting here? How much time does your mother expect you to give your brother? I'm assuming you need your phone on a daily basis like the rest of us, and it can't wait. Your brother should absolutely cover your costs. Having you saved one of my children's lives, I'd buy you the most expensive version out there. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. If it hadn't been for you, they might be paying for a funeral. Info. The part I'm stumbling on is phone of my choice. An equivalent to what you have, or the repair costs I could understand, assuming a night in Rice didn't work. But it sounds like you're trying to upgrade. Agreed. The brother should pay for the value of the phone that was damaged, not a new one of OP's choice. Not the asshole, but I highly recommend you send it to a proper repair shop and ask if they can try to fix the water damage. Chances are they can, and the bill would be significantly less. That could help diffuse the situation. But overall, good job saving the kid. You did the right thing without thinking about the phone. Because the OP wants a brand new phone of the latest model of my choice, instead of having what he has fixed or replaced with a like model. Not the asshole for wanting your phone replaced. You are, however, the asshole for thinking it should be a phone of your choice. Your damaged property should be replaced. That is a reimbursement. But he should not have to pay for more than what your phone was worth. That is called a reward. If you want a reward, then it would be hard to consider it just a good deed on your part. You should be reimbursed, not financially rewarded, for damaging your phone while saving your nephew. He should be eternally grateful, but should not pay hundreds more than what your own financial loss was worth. I may get downvoted, but I don't care. Everyone sucks here. You don't get a phone of your choice. I bet you were jumping at the opportunity to say this. You either repair the one you have or get a new phone that's the exact same model. At the same time, you saved his child from drowning, and he owes you to buy him a new one or repair it. Also, this is your family member, not a stranger. The fact you're taking advantage of the fact you saved your nephew is just you. You want a new phone so badly, save up to get one. But also, it really would have only taken a second to take the phone from your back pocket. At most, you are owed the used value of the phone you had, not one of your choice. Glad you saved your nephew, and it wasn't being treated as transactional by you. This situation is definitely intense and emotional. The fact that the OP jumped in to save his nephew from drowning is incredibly heroic, and it's wild that the brother is balking at the idea of paying for a new phone. I mean, come on, a phone is a pretty essential item for most people, and it's not like the OP just broke it for no reason. He was saving a life, I can understand why the OP would want the phone replaced with a new one of his choice, but it's also true that the brother shouldn't have to pay for more than what the original phone was worth. It's a tricky situation for sure. So, what do you think about this whole dilemma? Should the brother be responsible for paying for a new phone? And if so, should it be the OP's choice or a phone of equivalent value? Let me know in the comments down below, and let's move right into our next Reddit post. Am I the asshole for not doing the homework my husband's therapist assigned to me? My husband and I have been together for over a decade. During this time, he's been in therapy on and off. He had a hard time finding a therapist that was right for him. A few of his therapists early on encouraged him to just medicate, with no regular sessions, and one pushed religion on him. Neither of these worked. What he needed was someone to meet with him semi-regularly, not push their religious beliefs on him, and instead work with him to develop appropriate strategies, talk through issues. Whenever he told me about one of these more questionable strategies, i.e. pushing just love Jesus, I said I thought that was inappropriate and he should find a better therapist and go without until then. There have been long stretches where he has gone without therapy because my husband isn't generally good at taking care of himself. That falls on me. I have to remind him to do things to keep him healthy/taken care of. Drink water. Eat more than once a day. There are literally times I have had to tell him he needs to brush his teeth. He also gets anxious making any decisions on his own. I have to help him pick out new clothes, write emails to work colleagues or groups of friends. He can't make plans for us. I have to make them all. Or, I should say, I have to help him make the plans so then he can say he made them. He's a good person. He loves me so much, but he is so dependent on me. It is draining. I have to spend an hour at least once a week talking him through whatever crisis he's having. Sometimes this crisis is over what new collectible to buy. A collectible for him that I do not have any interest in. I finally demanded that he look into therapists again. I told him I cannot be his therapist and he cannot depend on me this much. He needs to start taking care of himself and get a therapist that will work with him to develop these skills. And he did, which is great. However, a month into therapy, he said his therapist had homework for me. I was supposed to write out a list of all his great qualities, at least a page or two. Mind you, this is after years of me carrying all his emotional baggage, essentially mothering him, giving him credit for things I did so he could feel better about himself. And one year, I did in fact write out 100 things that I thought were great about him for a gift. I was so frustrated. I said no. I said therapy is his work, not mine, and I've spent too many years of our lives solving things for him. It wasn't fair to ask me to sit down and do this homework when the point of his therapy was for him to build his own skills without depending on me all the time. He was upset but accepted it and said he understood. Well, just the other day, he told me that his therapist doesn't like me and thinks I should be thanking and showing him appreciation more. I told him I didn't care what his therapist thought. They are his therapist. This does have me thinking, though. Am I the asshole for not doing the homework his therapist assigned to me? Not the asshole. But I think you need your own therapist. You're carrying 99% of this relationship, and it seems to be draining you completely. What are you doing to care for yourself? Not the asshole. Encouraged him to just medicate with no regular sessions, pushed religion on him. He told me that his therapist doesn't like me. Is your husband searching for therapists by 1-star ratings at the top? Either that or he is taking what they say, manipulating it, and then weaponizing it against her so that she will continue to do all the emotional and mental labor for their relationship and household. Not the asshole. My guess is the therapist asked your husband to write a list of what he considers his good qualities, and he planned to copy your list. It could also be that the therapist asked the husband, but the husband didn't know what to write or wasn't confident enough. So then the therapist suggested asking the wife. That's what happened to me a while ago when I was seeing a therapist with my parents. Not the asshole. If the therapist wants you involved in his treatment, he should schedule a meeting with you, or ask you to sit in on your husband's session. It's wildly inappropriate for a therapist to tell a client that they personally don't like one's spouse. It also sounds like your husband is not being completely honest about why he's there. Essentially, your husband's therapy should be about him learning to move through life without relying on others to clear his path for him. Creating a treatment plan that relies on someone else to do work before he is expected to move forward with his own is counterproductive. Not only would it be wildly inappropriate for the therapist to have said they don't like OP, it's also wildly unlikely. Not the asshole, but I think you need couples counseling. The fact that him needing to be more independent got spun so quickly into you needing to thank him more sounds like you're not speaking the same language. This is both interesting and sad. I feel for this person who seems to be carrying so much burden and responsibility in the relationship. It must be so incredibly draining to feel like you are constantly taking care of someone else who is not able to take care of themselves. It's also perplexing and inappropriate to hear that the husband's therapist would assign homework to the wife. That seems to be crossing boundaries in a major way. It's clear that the wife feels strongly about this issue, and she rightfully expressed her frustration and boundaries to her husband. It's important for each person in the relationship to take care of themselves and not to depend too much on the other person. Have you ever felt like you were taking on too much responsibility in a relationship? How did you handle it? Well, that's another episode of Am I the Asshole in the books. I really appreciate all of you who made it this far into the video. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, it would really help the channel out a lot if you gave the video a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.